Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's live stream. Today is June 9th, 6/9/2025. And to begin today's live stream, I do want to take a look at the economic calendar here with you guys today. So today we don't necessarily have any economic volatility, I would say. The only thing that I do want to mention is that we have final wholesale inventories month over month at 9 a.m. Central Time. And besides that, we don't really have anything. I mean, coming into this week, I do want to mention that we do have CPI. And we have PPI here on Wednesday and Thursday. And on Friday, we have preliminary consumer sentiment and preliminary inflation expectations. Yeah, so that is the economic news for today. Nothing much, nothing too volatile. To begin today's live stream, I guess not to begin, but to take a look at what's going on here on this time frame. I guess on the technicals here, this is where we are at on NQ and ES. So I want to point out that we had a weekly candle closure here last week, and this is the weekly candle of last week, right? With this bullish up close closure here, with this bullish up close candle on the weekly time frame, where that red line is, I am anticipating for prices to take out the previous week's high. So for me, I am targeting the weekly high. This is my objective coming into this week would be for prices to take out that weekly high. And so that means I'm bullish here for the next week, right? And let's take a look at what the daily candle closed like. So the daily candle, I'll do it a blue line. And so notice how this daily candle here on NQ closed bullish, right? It's a pretty bullish candle closure. Like, the easiest assumption for us to make here is that we are most likely going to take out the daily high. And this is that daily high right here. And so for me, like I said, I want to see us take out the daily high and expand towards the weekly high sometime this week. And you guys may see that I am currently in a trade right now. And it is solely based off of the idea that the weekly time frame, like I said before, the weekly candle is suggesting to me that we are most likely going to take out that weekly high, right? Just simply with the way that we closed on the weekly time frame, it's a bullish candle, and this is due to the fact that this weekly time frame, the next weekly candle should do a open, high, low, and then low, high, close. And I want to see us take out that weekly high, right, with the next weekly candle. And so the way that I aligned myself with this time frame, or I guess, yeah, with this weekly order flow, is based off of the daily candle. So the daily candle to me here, like I said before, it closed bullish, meaning I want to see us take out the daily high. And so the daily candle is in alignment with the weekly time frame. We should take out the daily high where I have my sell limit order at. We should expand towards the daily high, and we should continue to expand higher towards the weekly high. So that's kind of what I want to see prices do coming into today, right? It's an easy assumption to make. That's kind of where the framework is. And now coming into the fair value gap, so I went from the weekly time frame onto the daily time frame, and now the time frame that I used as my entry pattern is based off of this 10-hour fair value gap here. And this 10-hour fair value gap, it supports the idea of bullish price action, right? I'm gonna get rid of these orders here for now, just because it's kind of getting in the way. But this 10-hour fair value gap here supports the idea of higher prices. It was created within this daily candle, this daily time frame, and if we trade back into, if we rebalance this fair value gap, we should expand higher towards the daily high, and then continue to expand higher towards the weekly high, because like I said, the weekly time frame supports the idea of continuation of higher prices. And so that's kind of where I'm at with the trade right now. I am watching I'm watching ES and how ES is going to close. But for right now, there isn't really there's no SMT at the weekly high. ES hasn't taken out weekly high, and NQ hasn't taken out weekly high. But for right now, like I said, currently in a trade, gonna let prices do its thing. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. I'm simply just trading in my model here. And hopefully that kind of makes sense of what I'm doing for a trade, right? I am watching how we are closing. I'm gonna see and watch how we do close on the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame, because both of those time frames right now are suggesting to me that, hey, we should continue higher. We should take out the 8-hour high / 4-hour high, and hopefully make that move towards previous day high. And once we take out previous day high, we should expand towards the weekly high. And yeah, that basically wraps up essentially what I am doing today. And so it looks like we're in like some sort of consolidation here, but yeah, even if we do get another rebalance into this like 10-hour fair value gap, like I said, I still want to see prices respect this 10-hour fair value gap and make that draw towards the daily high and the weekly high. And so that's pretty much all I have for today, for the morning at least. I'm gonna wait until we close here on the 4-hour time frame and the 8-hour time frame, which is about to happen within 50 seconds. Risk to reward 1 to my maximum target is it's about a 1 risk to 1.75 reward. It's better than 1. 1 to 1 is normally where like my bare minimum is, but usually, like I said, the higher time frame objective is my main goal. So it's about a 1 to 1.75 risk to reward. 14 seconds. With the way that we're closing here on the 4-hour time frame, it doesn't look to me like we're bullish. Like, it almost looks pretty indecisive, right? With the way that we close here on the 4-hour time frame. And so, like I said, we could either take out the 4-hour high or the 4-hour low right now. It doesn't look too... I'm not too positive on what we're wanting to do here on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm not going to enter another trade here. I'm not really going to force anything. But yeah, with the way that we are trading right now, it's with the way that we did close on the 4-hour time frame, it's just kind of indecisive. 8-hour time frame, I would say so too, but it's more unclear because of how we closed here on the 4-hour time frame. I can't tell if we are going to take out the daily or the 4-hour high or the 4-hour low. But yeah, so like I said, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I would like to see ES draw towards, if we take out this high here on NQ, this where that blue line is, then I might consider moving stops to break even because there's SMT, and I really don't like being a part of trades whenever there is SMT, because SMT really indicates that there's been some sort of like manipulation in the markets, and being part of manipulation is not what you want to be a part of. I wish there was like a way. What just happened? I don't know what just happened, but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. And notice how I identified and I was able to explain to you guys what my higher time frame objective was, and what my model was, and my fair value gap. So all three of those components that I always look for in a trade is present, right? And like all I did here was just press the button. It's very simple approach. And yeah, like I said, it helps me be consistent. Consistency is key whenever it comes to trading, right? It doesn't matter about like the amount of losses that you take, as long as you have good risk management, good RR, and a decent win rate. You just need a large sample size. You just need to be able to execute on your strategy and just be confident in it, right? If stops were to trade all the way down here towards my stop loss, that's completely fine with me, right? I don't really like that. Like right now, all I'm doing is just executing. I'm not doing anything special. And yeah. I really like even on ES, there's that 10-hour fair value gap, and I want to see us respect this 10-hour fair value gap. I really do want to see us respect this 10-hour fair value gap. It just makes sense for us to do so. And so let's take a look at what's going on here. On the news, we have in LA right now, there's protests going on between, now the federal government is involved, but between ICE and, LA citizens. Essentially, the citizens are anti-ICE, and they do not like the idea of. Let me just make sure that I'm not saying the wrong thing. I'm saying the right thing here. ICE is like a immigration program. ICE program. It's not the Intercontinental Exchange. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, right? The ICE workers, they're, what the protesters are claiming is that they are taking away families, and whatever they're doing is illegal. And so Trump, I believe, like on Friday, sent down 2,000 National Guards to kind of be a part of the protest and just make sure that keep things safe. And like as you guys can see, some of the pictures here are pretty daunting with attacks and just like, you know, fires, snare grenades and stuff like that. But yeah, another big news event right now is between Elon and Trump. Let's see here. So Tesla shares are actually at 293 right now. So they pretty much plummeted like a lot due to the fact that Elon and Trump's relationship is beginning to tear. You know, Elon doesn't like the idea that Trump is issuing this new big, beautiful bill, as he claims. And he thinks that it's just going to do bad for the debt crisis that we are in, right? We are cutting our sources of revenue, and whenever I say ours, I mean the United States. They are cutting the United States revenues by reducing taxes, and the way that they're going to claim to counter these costs is by, you know, cutting Medicaid and applying stricter rules for school loans and stuff like that. But those like offsets are not actually equal. We are going to spend more than we make, and it's only going to increase due to this bill. And Elon, he does not like this. He doesn't like this whole big beautiful bill. He was part of the Doge committee, and Doge was essentially in order. Its main goal was to bring down the trade deficit, right? It was Department of Government Efficiency. And with this clash of ideologies, Tesla shares strike, right? MAGA members, which are Trump supporters, are not going to. They're not. I would say majority of them are not going to side with Elon, right? And if Elon loses a portion of his consumers, his customers, Tesla might see a sell-off. Who knows? It's just something that I do want to keep in mind right now. Yeah, I think those, the one that I was talking about with Elon and Trump was probably like the biggest factor here in what's occurring right now. Okay, you see the fact that NQ took out that high, whereas NES did not. This to me is kind of worrisome, and the fact that that happened, I really don't like the SMT that we created, right? And so I'm going to be watching it really carefully here, but I'm really considering moving my stops to break even, just because of that SMT. Like I said, it's yeah, like ES didn't take out this high yet, this blue line, but on NQ relative to it, we did take out that swing high, which is kind of concerning. I'm going to consider moving my stops up to here now. Like I want to keep in mind that this is the higher time frame daily draw, so there could be like an hourly SMT, and that might it's completely fine, but we would really need to make a break for it right now on NQ towards the daily high. I have to see. Let's see. Let's consider where we're going to close here. So 15 minutes. We're about to close here on the 15-minute pretty soon. And I want to see us make a draw towards that daily high here. ES, preferably, I would like to see ES catch up. I want to see ES make a run towards that high, because I really do not like that there is SMT here right now. And the fact that there is pretty concerning. So there's NQ. Let's just continue to watch. I mean, I have my stop. I moved my stops up a little bit. Man, yeah, I'm gonna move my stops to this 15-minute low once we close here on this 15-minute time frame. It's like this candle, we should not reverse back here towards this level right here, where I'm moving my stops to. That shouldn't happen. Yeah, I really don't think we should move we should not be trading all the way back into that area. I think this is probably the break towards the daily high. This is probably us making that run for it. And preferably I would want to hold my positions and kind of like target the weekly high. So I'll just be really observant, and I would really keep in mind that I have to keep in mind that the weekly high is my higher time frame objective, but simply my model is targeting the daily high. So we'll see. So right now I'm up about 273 ticks. I don't like looking at the numbers. It does me no good. Like I said, I'm simply just executing a model here. Whenever I say model, in this case, it just means trade. But yeah, I'm just simply executing a trade. Higher time frame objective, model, fair value gap. Watching it closely here. So you guys may have noticed the 15-minute time frame. Just opened up, and it looks like we did take out that 15-minute high already. But yeah, like I said, I want to see us make a break for the daily high now. I wouldn't want to see us make a complete reversal. If we make a reversal, then I have my stop loss, in profit. I might make $5 where my stop loss is, but it's better than taking a complete loss and me completely ignoring the fact that we have SMTs. If if NQ takes out the daily high and ES isn't even near the daily high, I would consider considering taking profits there. Yeah. So that's that. Let's take a look at the economic calendar. No, not the economic calendar, sorry, my journal, and go over some of the pros and cons from previous week that I can carry over onto this week. The first thing that I am going to continue to do, in that I did pretty well last week, was taking consistent trades. The fact that I'm able to identify a higher time frame objective, a model, and a entry pattern before every single one of my trades allows me to be consistent. The higher time frame objective, like I stated today already, is kind of the bigger reason why prices should be going towards a specific objective, right? So in this case, the higher time frame objective for me is the weekly candle. And let me just make it that weekly candle, right? The next candle, it's very simple, but the next candle, we should take the weekly high. That's simply all I'm basing my higher time frame objective on. It's as simple as that. But sometimes, when human behaviors are part of or taken into account, it becomes a lot more, foggy. Your vision, it becomes clouded and you can't really make the right judgments. But this is why I have three components, right? I have a higher time frame objective. A model is a time frame that's lower relative to your higher time frame that supports and aligns with the order flow. So I have a bullish order flow. The way that I'm aligning myself with that bullish order flow is basing my model on a lower time frame that's also bullish. So both time frames are, weekly bullish, daily bullish. And so yeah, that's the first pro. The second one is I know and understand when to pivot. This is going to be a little bit more. You'll be able to understand what I'm trying to refer to here once the daily objective has been completed, right? So sometimes whenever I go into a trading session during the morning, sometimes the daily objective has already been completed overnight. And so the way that I counter this is that, okay, if I know that the daily objective has been completed, I'm not going to use the daily time frame as a bias anymore. I'm going to pivot from the daily time frame onto possibly the intraday time frames, right? And the reason why I'm able to pivot is because every single candle, the 10-hour candle, 8-hour, 6-hour, 4-hour candle, every single one of those candles support the idea of higher prices, or it has their own objective, right? Each one of those candles, the 4-hour, the 6-hour, 8-hour, 10-hour, they all have their own objective, meaning when this 6-hour candle closes here at 12 p.m. Eastern time, the next 6-hour candle should either take out the 6-hour high or the 6-hour low. That's an objective. So you want to utilize that to your advantage and, learn how to pivot. And so that's the second pro. Third and last but not least here, utilizing SMT as a confluence, an extra confidence before a trade. So how can I use SMT as an extra confluence, right? Well, this is based off of the fact that whenever strong highs and strong lows are created, there will always be SMT. And SMT is like, it's kind of, basically it's an indicator that shows you when there's been manipulations between ES and NQ. Like I was stating earlier, like this morning, right? ES, we haven't taken out previous day high yet. NQ, we haven't taken out previous day high yet. And because we haven't taken out the previous day high, this to me like really makes me supportive of the idea that we should continue higher, because there's no SMTs at previous day high and weekly high between NQ and ES right now. That suggests to me that we really should continue to expand towards that specific direction. We really should expand towards the daily high, because prices are going to want to create SMT, right? They want to create SMT, so either NQ or ES will take out this high, maybe even both. If both takes out the previous day high, I'm not moving stops or I'm not going to take the trade or stop the trade there and let prices do its thing. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. Yeah, pros and cons, utilize them. So those are the three pros. Some of the things I can work on coming into this week, now that I have officially started my personal funded account, is I have to make sure that my risk to reward will always be 1-to-1. It can be above a 1-to-1, right? Where I'm risking maybe $1 to make $2, $1 to make $1.50. But I have to make sure that my risk to reward is at least bare minimum a 1-to-1. Maximum dollar stop loss here for every single one of my trades is either going to be $100 for intraday trades where the volatility isn't that large, and $200 if it's an overnight trade. And so this is going to place a limit on how many contracts I buy. Sometimes I'll be able to buy 5. Sometimes I'll only be able to buy 1. Like coming into today, I was only able to buy 1 contract. But yeah, that's completely fine. I'm taking it slow and steady. This is simply because I want to either be risking 1% of my total account or 2% of my total account, somewhere around there. So yeah. And these here are just some daily marginal things that Tradeovate has. And so day margin requirements. So I am required to have on backup $100 per contract. So including the risk that I'm risking, I have to make sure that my account has at least $100 in it for me to be able to even purchase a contract during the day. Whenever it's not intraday, whenever it's considered overnight, that's when the margins increase. And I think the margins for Tradeovate for at night is like $3,400 or something like that. So you have to have $3,400 in your account per contract. That's a decent amount. But yeah. Let's see here. And some of the fees here are, well, it's gonna cost me, like transaction fees and stuff like that. It's gonna cost me $1.12 per contract for me to open a trade and to close a trade in total. So if I made $100 in profit, I have to subtract the operating costs, right? Which is going to be that $1.12, which would make my total profits to be maybe like $98.88, somewhere around there. But yeah, some of the improvements here for this week is for me to continue to take consistent trades. I am always going to require a higher time frame objective, a model, and an entry pattern for every single one of my trades, right? I have to be able to identify those three components before entering a trade. And second, knowing when to pivot timeframes. This is based off of the fact that every single time frame has an objective, so it just means that prices is fractal. So I'm going to utilize the fractal nature of the markets. Third, I want to pay close attention to SMT before and during my trade. So the reason why I'm just constantly checking this, monitoring this ES and NQ here is because I'm watching for the SMT, right? Once NQ takes out this daily high, that to me is there's going to be SMTs in the markets, and I don't like being a part of SMT, so yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Last thing is to follow the risk to reward rules that I have for myself. Track my progress. So one way of tracking my progress here is actually I'm recording, what I'm doing. I am making sure, I'm going to try my best to record a trade execution for you guys for every single one of my trades. This one, because it's it's based off of the daily time frame, I don't really want to record for a whole day. I don't want to record a trade where I'm in it for a whole day, but maybe if it's on like the 15-minute time frame or something like that, I'll try to record it. But yeah, so I want to track my progress, and I'm most definitely going to do a trade review on my YouTube channel for every single one of my trades. This is just going to allow me to keep track and keep progress of what I'm doing. And yeah, it's about to be 9:30. We're about to close on a 30-minute candle. I do want to stay with you guys. I think that we are most likely going to take out the daily high here pretty soon, so I want to stay with you guys for that. But yeah. Yeah, let's just continue to watch and see where we're at. Like I said, I want to see us take out that daily high, and it looks like we are going to create a 15-minute fair value gap here. This 15-minute fair value gap should not be disrespected. We should respect this inefficiency. We should, if we do get to rebalance into this fair value gap, we should respect it and continue higher. That's what I am anticipating that we should do. I want to see something like that. Rebalance the inefficiency, bounce higher. And like I said before, my stops is above break even now. I don't want to see prices continue or trade down into there anymore. Dun, 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 dun. If we take out this 30-minute high, I would consider moving my stop loss. If we take out this blue line, I'm going to consider moving my stop loss to where that red line is. America's trade deficits are a problem, and the dollar might not stabilize until imports and exports realign. But in reality, it is more likely that the currency's fate depends on the success of the Magnificent Seven stocks. That's interesting. They have yet the dollar and the stock market, overall stock market, does have a. Okay, so notice how we just took out that 30-minute high. That to me makes me want to move my stops to break even, or not break even, but to where this is. And like we came so close to taking out the daily high. Oh, and we just did that. And so I am actually going to close my positions here because ES did not take out the daily high yet. And I don't want to be a part of any SMTs whenever I'm in only one contract. So I wasn't present whenever the move actually happened. I apologize. But as you guys have seen, you know, we traded towards the daily high like I suggested because that daily candle is bullish, and it's now here we really should, like I said, continue to expand towards the weekly high. But I don't want to, like, if I had two contracts here, I would have taken one contract off at the at the daily high, and then I would leave one contract here for the previous week's high. But, you know, I didn't have two. I only had one contract, and I really had to be kind of nimble. Look, ES, we did not take it out previous day high yet. This, to me, is not ideal. I would have liked us to take out it at the same time, but the fact that we didn't makes me like a little bit, I don't know if we could reverse, because like I said, SMT, a strong swing high will always be accompanied with SMT, vice versa. Strong swing low will also be accompanied with SMT. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have for today. I was able to capture, I think it said 400 points, but I don't know. Yeah, like roughly 399 points. So 400 point trade there. The reason why it was 400 points is because it was based off of the daily candle. Daily candle provides a lot more movement, but it just takes a little bit more time. And hopefully I was able to give you guys an idea of what I wanted to see there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time.